Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. We're tackling a topic you all seem really interested in. How to take your relationships and collaborations to the next level.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, and you've pointed us to this idea of public victory from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits.
The 7 habits of highly effective people.
Yes, exactly. And I think a lot of you are probably already familiar with that concept of private victory that Covey talks about first.
Right, getting yourself in order.
Yeah, kind of like that foundation of self-mastery.
Mm-hmm.
So think of public victory as building on that foundation, taking those personal wins and applying them to how we interact with the world around us.
It's a shift from independence to interdependence.
Ooh, I like that.
That private victory gets you solid on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
But public victory is about recognizing that we truly thrive in connection with others.
It's like going from a solo act to playing in a band.
Ooh, I like that too.
You gotta know your instrument first, but the real magic happens when you jam together. So Covey breaks this down into 3 habits. And honestly, the first one, think win-win, just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it's a powerful one.
It's not just about being agreeable, you know.
Yeah.
It gets into this whole idea of abundance versus scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever found yourself in situations where it feels like someone has to lose for you to win?
All the time. I think we all do in some ways.
Yeah, with that classic zero-sum game mentality.
Exactly.
But Covey is saying that's not the only way.
Right, he's challenging that assumption.
Yeah, by believing in the potential for everyone to win, we can unlock creative solutions we wouldn't even consider if we're stuck in that competitive mindset.
I think that's a really key point.
So it's not about splitting the pie evenly, it's about baking a bigger pie.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
The source material gave a really great example, actually, of a workplace negotiation.
Oh.
Let's say you and a colleague are both up for the same promotion.
Oh, yeah, classic.
Instead of seeing it as this cutthroat battle, think win-win, encourages you to explore options where you both benefit.
So reframing the whole situation.
Yeah, maybe you leverage each other's strengths or propose a new project that creates additional leadership roles, or even just champion each other's success.
Yeah, you're both on the same team in a way.
It's so interesting. It's almost like you're playing on the same team against the problem instead of against each other.
I love that.
Okay, I'm already seeing how this could change the game in so many situations.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's move on to the next habit. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Oh, that's a good one.
This one really resonated with me because it's so easy to get caught up in what we want to say that we completely miss what the other person is trying to tell us.
We've all been there.
Covey actually calls this the key to effective communication.
It's so true.
And for good reason. Think about those heated discussions we've all had.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's with a loved one, a colleague, or even, a stranger online.
Especially online.
How often are we truly listening versus just waiting for our turn to talk?
Right, or thinking about what witty comeback you can put in the comment.
Oh my gosh, guilty as charged.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been so busy formulating my response in my head that I totally missed the nuances of what the other person was saying.
It's a common trap.
But seek first to understand challenges us to flip the script.
Yeah, to really listen.
Instead of crafting your rebuttal while they're speaking, try to really inhabit their perspective.
It's like putting on their glasses.
What experiences have shaped their viewpoint? What fears or desires are driving their argument?
Yeah, getting curious about where they're coming from.
That's the essence of empathic listening, right?
Yeah.
Connecting on a human level.
Exactly. It's not just about the words. It's about the person behind the words.
Okay, but isn't there a risk of getting steamrolled if you're too focused on understanding the other person?
That's a good question.
What if they're being totally unreasonable?
Yeah, you don't want to be a doormat.
Right.
But seek first to understand is not about becoming a pushover. It's about building a bridge of understanding so that you can then effectively communicate your own perspective.
So it's not about agreeing with them. It's about understanding them.
Exactly. And the source material actually uses the example of a difficult conversation with a friend,
Oh, yeah.
Those moments when emotions are running high.
When you just want to yell.
But if you can pause, take a breath, and genuinely try to understand where they're coming from, you can often de-escalate the situation and find a resolution that works for both of you.
It makes sense if someone feels like you genuinely get them,
Mm.
They're much more likely to be open to what you have to say.
It builds trust.
It's like building trust before you even start talking.
Exactly.
All right, we've covered think win-win and seek first to understand, which are both incredibly powerful on their own.
Huge shifts in thinking.
But there's one more habit in this public victory trifecta, and I got to be honest, I'm a little wary of this one because it feels like such a buzzword.
Which one?
Synergize. I mean, every corporate team-building retreat throws that word around.
Oh yeah, synergy. It's definitely become one of those overused terms.
It can sound like empty jargon.
But Covey gives it real substance.
Okay, good, because I was hoping we could rescue it a little bit.
He's not just talking about, working together nicely or something vague like that.
So what is it then?
It's about recognizing that true synergy comes from valuing and leveraging the differences between people.
Okay, so it's not about everyone agreeing all the time or
Right.
pretending that all ideas are equally good.
Absolutely not. The source material actually highlighted this point with a great example of a diverse team brainstorming a new product.
Okay.
They were all talented individuals, but they kind of got stuck in their own silos at first.
So they weren't really synergizing yet.
Not really. But then they shifted gears and started actively listening to each other, respecting each other's expertise, and brainstorming from a place of genuine curiosity.
They embraced the differences.
And by combining their unique perspectives, they developed a product that was far more innovative and successful than anything they could have created on their own.
Wow, that's such a powerful illustration of synergy in action.
I think so too.
But is there ever a point where, trying too hard to force synergy can backfire?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Could it stifle individual creativity or lead to watered-down solutions if everyone's so focused on getting along?
That's a really insightful question and something we should definitely explore further.
Yeah, let's unpack that a little bit more.
Because I think there are definitely some nuances to how synergy works and the conditions that allow it to flourish.
You're right.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
explore that a bit more. Okay, so we were talking about that question of whether trying too hard to force synergy can be counterproductive.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
I'm thinking about it in terms of stifling creativity or ending up with those watered down solutions where nobody's really happy.
I think where synergy can go wrong is when it's forced or when there's a lack of psychological safety within a group,
So it's not just about getting everyone in a room and saying, okay, guys, let's synergize.
Exactly. Synergy needs the right conditions to flourish. If people feel pressured to conform or they can't express dissenting opinions,
They'll just agree with the loudest voice in the room.
then you end up with groupthink rather than true synergy.
So you need that environment of trust where people feel safe to share their ideas.
Exactly. Covey really emphasizes the importance of creating a culture of trust and respect where individuals feel comfortable sharing their ideas.
Even if those ideas are different or unpopular.
Even if they're unpopular, he actually uses the analogy of a brainstorming session where the goal isn't to immediately judge or shoot down ideas,
Just get them all out there.
but rather to generate as many possibilities as possible, no matter how wild or unconventional they may seem.
That makes me think of those improv comedy shows
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
where they build on each other's ideas no matter how ridiculous they get.
It's that yes and principle.
Yeah, and it's that sense of playfulness and openness that seems so crucial for sparking creative synergy.
I love that analogy, and it highlights another key element of synergy: the willingness to let go of ego
Oh, that's a tough one.
and embrace the idea that the whole can be greater than the sum of its parts.
It's recognizing that you don't have all the answers.
Right, and sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected sources.
Okay, but doesn't that require a pretty high level of maturity from everyone involved?
That's where the connection between public victory and private victory becomes so clear.
Ah, okay.
You can't truly collaborate effectively with others if you haven't first done the work of mastering yourself.
Because if you're bringing all that baggage to the table,
If you're insecure defensive, overly attached to your own ideas, it's going to be very difficult to truly embrace the principles of synergy.
so it's not just about learning a set of techniques or strategies for collaboration.
Right, it's deeper than that.
It's about cultivating a certain mindset, a way of being in the world that allows for genuine connection and co-creation.
Exactly. It's about being the kind of person who can show up authentically and openly in a collaborative setting.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Me too. It's all connected.
But let's bring it back to our listener, to you. We've explored these three powerful habits. Think win-win. Seek first to understand, then to be understood, and Synergize.
They really are powerful when you think about them.
But how can you actually put these principles into practice in your daily life?
That's the million-dollar question. And I think it starts with small, conscious choices.
The little things you can do every day.
Yeah, it could be as simple as approaching a disagreement with your partner with a win-win mindset.
Instead of trying to prove you're right.
Or really listening to a friend who's going through a tough time.
Giving them your full attention.
Or seeking out diverse perspectives when you're making a decision.
So it's like flexing those collaboration muscles, building those habits, one interaction at a time.
Exactly. And the more you practice these principles, the more natural they will become. And as you start to see the positive results in your own life, you'll be even more motivated to keep going.
It's like that saying, what you practice grows stronger. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the public victory, I want to leave you with a few key takeaways to help you on your journey toward more effective collaboration.
That's a great idea. Let's distill the essence of each habit, those actionable insights that can make a real difference in your life.
Okay, so let's recap these habits and how we can actually use them, make them practical.
Sounds good.
First up, think win-win. It's about shifting from that I win, you lose mentality.
Yeah, that scarcity mindset.
Exactly, to a more collaborative approach where everyone benefits. And it's important to remember, this isn't about being a pushover or always compromising.
Right, it's not about giving up what's important to you.
It's about getting creative.
Yeah.
Tapping into that problem-solving energy to find solutions that actually work for everyone involved.
Like in that example we talked about with the promotion.
Oh, yeah, instead of battling your colleague for that one spot.
You could actually work together and maybe both end up in even better positions.
Yeah, you could collaborate on a project or leverage each other's strengths or even just support each other's success.
It's about seeing the possibilities instead of getting stuck in that competitive mindset.
Turning competition into collaboration.
I like that.
Okay, next up we've got seek first to understand, then to be understood. And this one is really all about becoming a master listener.
Deep listening.
Yeah, truly hearing and understanding the other person's perspective before you jump in with your own 2 cents.
Because we've all been in those situations where we're just waiting for our turn to talk.
Oh, yeah, or we're so busy thinking about our response that we totally miss what the other person is trying to say.
It's like we're not even in the same conversation.
And that's where this habit comes in. It's about making that conscious effort to really step into the other person's shoes.
To see the world through their eyes.
Yeah, to understand what experiences have shaped their viewpoint, what fears or desires are driving their argument.
It's about connecting on a human level before you try to connect on an intellectual level.
Building trust before you even start talking. And then finally, we have Synergize, which, like I said, I was a little hesitant about at first.
Yeah, it's one of those buzzwords that gets thrown around a lot.
But you've really helped me see it in a new light.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's not just about working together.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that true innovation and progress often come from embracing those differences in perspectives.
Totally. It's about valuing those differences, not trying to erase them.
And working together to create something that none of us could have achieved on our own.
Like that product development team we were talking about.
They were struggling until they started really listening to each other and valuing those different viewpoints, and then bam.
They came up with something truly innovative.
So it's about letting go of that ego and recognizing that sometimes the best ideas come from the most unexpected places.
It's about being open to the possibilities.
And trusting in the collective wisdom of the group. So we've unpacked these 3 habits, but the real work starts now.
It's time to put them into practice.
How can you actually apply these principles to your everyday life?
Well, it starts with awareness, noticing those moments when you might be falling back into old patterns.
Like that scarcity mindset or that urge to interrupt or that tendency to dismiss ideas that are different from your own?
Exactly. And then in those moments, make a conscious choice to apply these habits.
So next time you're in a disagreement, try approaching it with a win-win mindset.
See if you can find a solution that works for everyone involved.
And when someone's sharing something important, practice that deep empathic listening. Really try to understand where they're coming from.
Put yourself in their shoes.
And when you're working on a project, don't be afraid to tap into the diverse perspectives and talents of everyone on the team.
Because that's where the magic happens.
It's about transforming your interactions one conversation, one decision, one project at a time.
And building a more collaborative and fulfilling way of being in the world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the public victory. And remember, the journey starts today.